Hello, and thank you so much for having me here today. It's really an honor to be joining you for your graduation day. I've been fortunate enough to work in fintech for the last 5 years. Particularly when I was working in the crypto space, we had this phrase that crypto years were shorter even than dog years. But this really is true of all startups. Time just goes by so quickly that you can barely catch your breath. And I know for all of the companies graduating here today that the last 3 months will have flown by. But that's what happens when you're making history in real time. The companies that you were even 3 months ago are probably very different than the companies that you are today. On the back page of the FinTech Innovation Lab deck is a quote from the founder and CEO of OpenWorks, Ollie Betts. He says, "We've been able to carry out 12 months worth of market validation and proposition refinement within 12 weeks. In a world of increasing competition and an ever-changing fintech landscape, this acceleration of your time to market is a truly invaluable gift. And I have no doubt that you'll leave this program with a strong baseline from which to continue to iterate and refine your product market fit." For the last year, I've had the privilege to work as Chief of Staff for Checkout.com, a payments company based here in London. I'll talk a little bit more about Checkout in a moment, but first I should introduce myself. And Celine particularly asked me to talk a little bit about my journey to being the Chief of Staff at one of Europe's largest fintechs. I'm going to take you back to 2006 in my university application. It was just at the point of the financial crisis. And in my application, I wrote about how our financial systems, the operating systems of the global economy, badly needed updating. Then in 2009, when I was actually studying economics, shortly after the publication of Niall Ferguson's Ascent of Money, I took a class in economic history. It was probably my favorite undergraduate electives. From learning about Babylonian clay tablets to the Medici banking system, through to the gold standard, Bretton Woods, economics really has been at the heart of how our society has evolved, and it continues to be so today. After I graduated, I spent some time at Credit Suisse in their investment banking team, working on IPOs, M&As. I even did one of these SPACs, which are now so popular today. And after that, I joined the private markets investment team of a Canadian pension fund, where I was investing in private equity and infrastructure assets and funds. These opportunities provided a great training ground for me, but it was in 2014 when I learned about Bitcoin and blockchain that my interest, particularly in the technology part of our financial systems, really began. This was truly economic history being made in front of my eyes, and I was so keen to be part of the ecosystem. I began investing in the space and co-founded a small blockchain startup where we were using non-fungible tokens, NFTs as everyone's calling them today, to track the provenance of physical and digital artworks. It was very much a precursor to today's NFT activity, where even just in recent weeks, we've seen the first NFT sold at Christie's for a whopping $69 million, making both art and also crypto history in a matter of minutes. One of the biggest challenges back then, and still today, is how you connect the crypto economy with the traditional financial ecosystem, much of which, as many of you will know, is built on ancient technology. That's why when the opportunity to join Checkout.com came about, I was really excited to join their executive team. Checkout.com was founded in 2012 by Guillaume Poussaz, with a mission to provide global merchants with payment processing in a way that circumvents the complexities of the existing payment system. Our vision is that payments are at the nexus of financial services for every merchant. Rather than being an operational overhead, payments are an integral part of the value creation system and are the first step to unlocking a plethora of other opportunities for merchants, including payouts, working capital solutions, FX services, and more, which ultimately help them deliver a better service and experience for their end users. Our philosophy is that by owning the full stack of technology, over the long run will enable us to capture more of the value chain, but also to provide better data and more control to both us and our merchants. That's why between 2013 and 2016, we really focused on building our payments processor, In 2018, we won our first FANG customer, and also that's when we started beginning our global expansion program. So we started with a French EMI license and principal memberships in Hong Kong, Australia, and Singapore. And also, for the first time, accepted institutional capital as we did our $230 million Series A that valued the business at $2 billion. I think for us, it was a pivotal moment for the business. We'd been profitable for a very long time, but this was about bringing deep expertise and partnerships through our investors into the business. We then, in 2020, raised both our Series B and our Series C. But 2020 was also a big year for other reasons, for many of us. It was a period of rapid growth and also change for the organization. We've long believed in the trend for online payments, and this only accelerated during the pandemic. It's of course aided by other systemic shifts, including changing consumer habits, online purchases in e-commerce, and also a reduction in cash, not so prevalent in the UK fintech ecosystem, but certainly in other regions of the world where we operate today. It meant that during 2020, we onboarded 500 merchants and saw processing volumes triple. It's also in this period that we saw a real mind shift across both our new and existing merchant base. From thinking of payments, and indeed other fintech offerings, as part of a cost base, to really thinking about them as a way to generate new value. For me, I kind of think in the way that we used to talk about an internet business, and now the internet is really core to almost all businesses, so too is financial infrastructure. It's heading that way, and it's becoming part of the core operating system for any business. At Checkout.com, we power many of Europe's fintech companies like Revolut, Klarna, and Wise. And today we're more focused than ever on being an enabler for that innovation. And it doesn't stop just with fintech companies. Increasingly, chat apps, social networks, and other more traditional businesses want to embed financial services into their offering for their end consumer as part of what we call connected payments. Together with these companies, we're really trying to rethink what fintech means, both for the merchant and for the end consumer. But this innovation is only possible with really open-minded partners, ones who'll invest time to explore creative solutions, and ones who are okay to take risks, knowing that not everything turns out perfectly in the first instance. And it's these partners with whom we've worked over recent years and who we've been able to unlock incredible value for. And I really hope that over the course of this program, many of you have also found partners, ones who'll challenge you and test you, but also ones who'll back you and innovate alongside you. If you haven't found them yet, then obviously the network session is the place to keep finding them. But these people, these partners, and this melting pot of experience, education, and entrepreneurship is really where history, and the history of fintech particularly, is being written today. Some of the partners aren't always the obvious ones, and in our experience, it definitely takes a village to raise a fintech. It's the regulators, the banking partners, the B2B technology providers, the investment community, and of course, incubators like this one that make success possible. Having a large group doesn't always, however, mean that you have a diverse group. And one of my first questions to Celine was about the diversity of this cohort, and I was really thrilled to hear that 40% of the group is represented by women. Diversity, and not just visible diversity, but bringing together people with different mindsets, different imaginations, and different backgrounds is crucial to reimagining the financial systems that we have today, which ultimately don't work for everyone. So if I can leave you with one final thought, it is really to keep challenging that status quo. Only by bringing new people into the ecosystem and working in partnership can we innovate in a way that will work for everyone. And if you can do this, whether you're an investor, a 100-year-old financial services business, or a startup at the very beginning of your 100-year-old journey, you'll be the ones that are writing history together. As you graduate, you are joining an incredible group of alumni who are changing the financial world, and I wish you all the very best as you join them.